sometimes conversations happen about lists, top 5, this and that. Morris Chestnut and Shannon Sharpe got into a nice, interesting conversation about what their top 5 hood classic movies are, right? And this was on Club Shay Shay. For anybody interested to go check Shannon Sharpe's podcast show or whatever you want to think of it as.
Worst name ever.
Club. I love Club Shay Shay. That's a nice name. That's a very interesting name, Club Shay Shay.
I would go to view different kind of activities at a Club Shay Shay. It would be in person, and
you can do whatever you want.
A couple of dollar bills on me.
That's the beauty of Club Shay Shay. You can do whatever the fuck you want there.
I guess
it's all good. It all goes. So anyway, so that inspired us to talk about what our top 5 favorite hood classic movies are. Right now, there is going to be some contention here because we're going to have to talk about what actually constitutes as a hood classic movie. That and we don't have, we might continue this, later because Rain's not here, but he did give me his list, so we're going to talk about that, and we're going to slide his list appropriately. So I'm sure he'll want to come back on and argue his his selection. But without further ado, we will begin our list. I'm going to go with you, Addy. You go ahead and drop your top 5 hood classic movies. Let us know.
Are we doing going straight 5, or are we going back and forth?
No, we're going straight 5. We have no time to waste here.
All right. So I'm going to start with number 5.
Okay.
For me, hood classic.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody can dispute that this should be on it. Juice. Juice.
Yeah.
A young Tupac, a young Omar Epps before he went to medical school and got hired by Dr. House. Like this movie, it resonated with me because this was one of the first movies when I moved to the US in the late 90s that the only kids that ever hung out with me were black kids, and they would play this all the time. So this was one of the movies that just resonated with me. How much hood factor do I have to talk about the hood? Probably 0, literally 0. But when I think of hood movies, Juice is one of them. Tupac surprisingly did not do terribly in this movie. And there's another movie that I know you're going to get to where taking, rappers, taking artists and making them, into leading roles on the big screen just sometimes doesn't work out. I felt with Tupac, it was good. I enjoyed, the story between, friends growing up together, then having that one friend that, just kind of, just fuck shit up for everybody. And then now you got to deal with the ramifications of it as a group. I enjoyed it. So that was number 5 for me. Number 4, Friday. I felt you had to add comedy in here somewhere. And Friday is just a classic. I don't know if I really need to talk a whole lot about it, but I mean, from the one-liners that you get from, Chris Rock to, Ice Cube's father, I forgot what his name was.
Chris Rock, first off.
Chris Rock.
Chris Tucker, Jesus.
Chris Tucker, yeah. Oh, man, what did I just watch with Chris Rock the other day? But anyway, yeah, Chris Tucker, Mr. I made so much money I don't even need to act anymore. I can just live off of my my residuals, as Rain likes to say. But yeah, so that's definitely one of my classics. Point of contention, I know this one for you is going to be Coach Carter. And I threw Coach Carter in there because does a hood movie always have to be about, I don't even know how to describe it. Like, does it have to be gangster stuff all the time? Does it have to be, the life cycle of somebody going through, all the bad things, or can it be something inspiring and something good? So I took Coach Carter into that. I love Samuel L. Jackson's performance in it. I love the fact that it's a true story. I love the fact that, these kids that come from Richmond, that are in a bad situation overall can overcome the adversity, really make something of themselves. Everybody in that was great, minus Channing Tatum. We can kind of throw him out of there, but
absolutely
I thought that was a great movie.
Not. We keep Channing Tatum.
Keep Channing Tatum in there.
What would Coach Carter be without, this white dude who, It's just there.
I don't know. There was like 3 other white dudes that never got a single line in the entire movie that they could not even a minute on the court.
You needed the
You just needed the one.
Channing Tatum was that dude. Yeah.
All right. My second one here. My second one. Speeding things up. Menace to Society. Now, I don't think anybody can really argue that, this shouldn't be part of, hood classics. If for nothing else than that opening scene. That opening scene where you get the instant drama, the instant action, the go ahead.
No, I just clicked on the wrong thing. Go ahead.
That's cool. The instant trouble that you find yourself in, it really is reality. I mean, when we first moved to the US, like we lived in neighborhoods like this, where, it was the Alameda down in Baltimore, just around the corner from there, like where you did have things happen at the corner store all the time. And it just hit home for me whenever I watch Menace to Society. Home for me, obviously, completely different scenario than what, people will actually be going through that, live in the hood, that live in poverty, that live in rough situations. But Menace to Society, I don't think anybody can say shouldn't be on this list. And my number one, which I know you haven't seen, Blindspotting, which is a more recent movie, 2018, I believe, is when it came out. I freaking love this movie because of what it signifies today's society being in certain parts of America.
Yeah.
This movie is...
I have to cry foul here. First off, the first thing I cry foul about, we're talking about hood classics, right? Classic.
So, it's a new classic.
Classic.
New classic.
A new classic is modern. That's what that is, right? That's called modern, right? A classic is something that you'd have to go back maybe like 2-3 decades in order to find. You can't just
Why?
Be like, this was produced yesterday and it's a classic. No.
Why?
The Blueprint, when Jay-Z came out with it in 2001, it wasn't immediately a classic, right?
It was.
It needed some
was.
time. No.
It was, especially because right after Blueprint came out, he came out saying, he was going to retire. You knew it was a classic immediately after that.
No,
he didn't.
It was like 2 albums later where he retired. Okay. He had the Blueprint 2, and then he had
Listen
Black
to me.
Album.
Listen to me. This is a new classic. It's got its own TV series being made in production right now for it. Mm-hmm. And for all the reasons of what happens in that movie, the gentrification that, happens throughout America right now, where, companies, white people just come into the hood and pour money into it, but for all the wrong reasons. They're not pouring money into help the residents of that area. They're taking it over. They're pushing everybody out. They're, increasing values of homes that people to begin with couldn't afford anyway. And now you have this, dynamic between these 2 lifelong friends, who, one is black, one is white. Rafael Casal plays, the white guy. Diggs plays the black main character, and everything that happens in that movie is so to the point of what's happening. And even here in Baltimore, I mean, I remember telling you a story. It might have been you, it might have been Orain, but I was going through an old neighborhood that I used to live in, close to Pimlico in Baltimore, and I was shocked. I was picking up some camera equipment there from somebody who was selling it online, and I was shocked at the neighborhood. It looked nothing like it used to look back in 99, 2000. You have nicely manicured streets.
To 2000.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Shout out to Orain. The 99s. But no, it's an amazing movie. Yes, I agree with you. It hasn't passed enough time to be considered a classic. However,
and also,
I can see it being
know about the movie.
They don't know about it.
Classic. I feel like it has to foster some sort of fervent family.
You heard it here first. We are visionaries. We are hit makers.
One person.
Blindspotting is a classic.
Okay, if you say so. Okay.
Better than Belly.
First off, how dare you? First off, I'm going to need you to retract that statement, sir. But we'll let that pass for now. Okay. So look, we had whoops, and I keep putting the wrong graphic up here. There we go. That's the right graphic.
Club Shay Shay.
Club Shay Shay. So I actually had Arain put in his 2 cents as well, since he couldn't be here. I still wanted him to get his word in edgewise. So look, his first hood classic, Dead Presidents, which I'll be honest, never seen it. Never seen Dead Presidents. Really? Yeah, I've never seen Dead Presidents. But it stars obviously Lorenz Tate, Chris Tucker, Keith David. So I can't even speak to it because honestly I haven't seen the movie. Although people like reference it a lot, right? Like it's referenced a lot of time. Obviously, this is to me the quintessential hood classic movie. This is clearly like on my list too. Boys in the Hood, and how you had it off your list is criminal. I don't even know.
It was originally on my list. I had to bump it.
For what? What took its place? What trash movie on your list took its Juice? Wait, why is it a competition between Juice and Boys in the Hood? Why it literally bump anything else off, or even Juice?
So it was literally because I made Blindspotting number 1.
Okay. Well, I don't even know what to do with you. So you basically bump Boys in the Hood first, Blindspotting. And I rest my case, ladies and gentlemen. All right.
Take it to appeals court.
We gotta go to the Fate Podcast Court. You know what? We might come back for the Fate Podcast Court about this. This might be we should bring this to a jury of your peers. So for our next on Rain's list, he had New Jack City. So New Jack City, I think is a very appropriately on this list. It's a very quotable movie. It's a very and one of the funniest things about the movie isn't actually even the movie itself. It's a scene that's taken from the movie that's played on Martin. It's this scene where he mimics I believe Nino Brown is the main character, but he mimics him where he has a dog and he's like petting the dog and he's like questioning people around the table. It's the most classic Martin scene or skit or whatever you want to call it on the show, and obviously it was originally from New Jack City. But next on Arain's list is I think inarguable hood classic, Set It Off. You have so many just great actresses here, Jada Pinkett Smith, Queen Latifah, Vivica Fox, and then a third person which I actually don't know, I can't remember her name. But yeah, it's a very classic movie that I think and who can forget the main theme song? I think it was it Escape? It was either Escape or Total. That don't you wanna be more than just obviously my singing credentials aren't to be.
Don't stop, keep going, please.
I don't like how you said that. That was weird. And then Arain rounds off his list by, of course, the aforementioned Juice, which honestly I watched Juice for the first time earlier this year, around the start of the pandemic is when I was like, we were shutting it down, and then randomly it was on TNT one day, or it was on TBS or some shit, and I was just like, all right, fuck it, I'm ashamed that I've never watched Juice. Today I'm watching it, I actually really liked it. I thought,
So you've never seen the uncut version? So you've just seen the TV version?
I don't, you know what? And when I say I haven't seen it, what I actually mean is that I probably have seen it at some point in time, but I probably wasn't old enough to
gotcha.
Know what the fuck I was watching or appreciate it. And I kind of just was lost interest in it. I never actually went back to go watch it as a fully functional teenager or adult. So
I'll get you my DVD of it.
Do you have a DVD of Juice?
Hell yeah.
Well, there you go. Well,
Blockbuster was going out. They were selling all their shit. I grabbed one.
Oh shit! Blockbuster is going out, so I was like, all right, fuck it. All right, good for you. Okay, so let's start with the best list, which is my list, of course, right? Like this is the list that everybody should go off of because this is clearly like the most quintessential list. First, we start out with Friday, right? Like that's where we have some similarity. Friday. It's tough to get more hood classic than Friday, right? Like you got Smokey, you got Craig, how'd you get fired on your day off? One of the funniest lines in that movie is
one-liners for days.
Oh my god! Every one-liner you could think of is like, and I used to go to high school with the dude, and like he would always be dying off of this one quote, which was, "Man, how'd you get fired on your day? How'd you get fired stealing some boxes? You trying to build a clubhouse?" Oh man, it makes me die every time. Or Bye Felicia, that's where Bye Felicia came from.
Yep.
It's just, what more can you say about Ice Cube?
Isn't that insane how Bye Felicia became such a cultural
in so many years
saying over the last it took 25 years for it to become a thing.
That's exactly what it was, right? Because Friday I think came out in 95. So yeah, it took about 25 years for everybody to be like, wait, that's actually pretty funny. And so yeah, I guess maybe white people just discovered it. Some white person on Reddit probably discovered it and was like, hey guys, Bye Felicia.
That's funny.
Yeah. So obviously, we have Friday. One of my favorite movies of all time, and honestly kind of shaped my childhood a little bit in terms of how I saw the world. Higher Learning, I think, is highly underrated in the hood classic paradigm. I don't even know if I'm using the right word there. In the hood classic ecosystem, Higher Learning, I feel like is truly, truly underrated. But one of my favorite movies of all time, and I'll say it has one of the best songs of all time. "Ask of You" by I think Raphael Sadiq is one of the hottest tracks you'll ever fucking hear, man. It's so fucking dope. But yeah, this one it's another Omar Epps classic. Omar Epps is just all over the place in the fucking 90s. He couldn't miss in the 90s.
Yeah.
This guy Omar Epps. But yeah, I just remember seeing that scene where it was like the what's his name? Michael Rappaport plays he's kind of like the dude who's trying to either join the Nazi group or like he is. I forget exactly what it was, but I just remember seeing that being like, man, fuck that guy and fuck them too. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and it was just like, I just loved how like Busta Rhymes and like, I think it was Busta Rhymes and Ice Cube. They like were stomping the shit out of the Nazis and shit. And I was like, yeah. So yeah, very, very formative, it formed my childhood very, very deeply there. Next on my list, I will have to go with, of course, just the quintessential hood classic movie, Boys in the Hood. There can, what more can I say than what I've already said about Boys in the Hood? It is, every time you watch it too, it hits you a little different every time you watch it. You still weep a little bit, every time they get to that alleyway and you're like, fuck, don't run in that direction. And it's one of those movies where you're like, I wish this was a different ending, even though I know exactly how it's going to end every single time. And then another movie that I feel like is a little underrated in the hood classic pantheon. I don't know if I'm using the right words at all for this, by the way, is Jason's Lyric. Yeah. I fell in love with Jada Pinkett Smith in this movie. All right. I saw her in this movie. I was like, fuck you, Will. Why?
This was the one?
Why?
This was the one?
Who can not be mesmerized by Jada Pinkett Smith in fucking Jason's Lyric? I don't understand. I don't understand how people would be like, no, I wasn't mesmerized. Of course you were. And she was mesmerizing in this film. And then finally, according to Addie, apparently this movie deserves no place on any list, but Belly. Like, what the fuck are we doing? Of course Belly's on the list. What the fuck? How are we going to have hood classic movies and not talk about Belly? That's a nonsense list if it doesn't have Belly on the list. I'll tell you that right now, okay? DMX, Nas, neither can act very well. It doesn't matter. Fuck it. You got T-Bodies in this movie.
I will plead my case why, one, this didn't make my list, but you have apart from like two good scenes that you and I discussed, you know, the opening, DMX's scene, you know, towards the end, maybe the culmination of the entire thing with Sin in Africa, like whatever. Like apart from maybe two or three decent, I'm saying decent. I'm not even saying good anymore. Apart from some decent scenes, you had terrible acting. You know, you had terrible cinematography, and this is where I hated the movie. You took Hype Williams, who, for as a mastermind that he is at music videos, has never done another film after this. It just wasn't that good of a movie. The production wasn't good. I get why it can be on lists. I love the fact that they did have DMX, that they did have Nas. You know, like I loved that part of it. It just wasn't that good of a movie. That's all I'm saying. Just wasn't that good of a movie.
Preposterous on all accounts. I don't even know how to argue this. You make terrible points. Yeah, of course it's bad acting. It's fucking DMX and Nas. Like, what the fuck are we talking about here? Of course it's terrible acting, right? You know, and there weren't just two great scenes. The whole movie is, honestly, I would argue that the entire movie is made up of scenes because of Hype Williams, right? That he's not, you know, he's not a feature filmmaker, you know, evident by what you just said of like, I don't think he's made a feature film.
You're looking at that as a positive. I'm looking at that as, what the fuck is going on? Like, make this some coherent shit here.
Graphic, my apologies. No, but what I'm saying is it has nothing but just great scenes. It's kind of like Zack Snyder-esque, right? Where great looking scenes, plot doesn't really make a whole bunch of sense, right? But great looking scenes. These are great scenes, you know, that we're talking about. You know, the scene where DMX is about to bone, right? And there's all that blue lighting. That's like very Hype Williams, you know, kind of scene. But it looked fucking gorgeous. Did that whole scene make a whole lot of sense? Not really. But also, I didn't need it to make sense. It's fucking Belly. Like, come on. What's the argument here? Get out of here. Like, come on. Okay. So I say all that to say that that's my list. There are some honorable mentions. I'll just go through two of them very quickly. Two that I just have to mention, right? Like, they didn't quite make the list, but how can I not mention these two fucking movies, right? He Got Game. Come on.
Yeah.
How the fuck can we not go through hood classic movies and not mention He Got Game? Come on. Denzel Washington, Ray Allen, for some reason, you know, although he did a great job as Jesus Shuttlesworth, right? That was his name in the movie, Jesus Shuttlesworth. Fucking, it was just a great coming of age story. And it doesn't really like leave you with any true deep like resolution, which was fucking awesome, right? It's very sort of like it's a very introspective movie in that it wasn't clean, you know, it wasn't a clean cut sort of thing. You weren't really sure whose side you were on. You weren't necessarily on Denzel's side. You weren't necessarily on Ray Allen's side, right? You were kind of like, people just going through things, which was fucking dope, right?
Great
I
movie.
appreciate the game. It had a dope fucking soundtrack as well. And so yeah, I'd be remiss if I did not, you know, mention He Got Game. Also, an honorable mention has to go to Do the Right Thing. It was a little questionable whether I think that this counts as a hood movie, so to speak, but nonetheless, I would have to mention it. Do the Right Thing, one of the most quintessential movies of all time, let alone hood classic movies. Spike Lee made one of the more powerful and spot on movies that this, you know, if you go back and watch Do the Right Thing right now, there's so many fucking parallels to like right now, you know, to shit that people are talking about right now that's going on in society right now. You know, everything that went down with like Radio Raheem and, you know, obviously with the police, you know, it's like that's airlifted from headlines from today, you know? And so yeah, I would be remiss again if I did not mention the film Do the Right Thing in hood classics. Long story short, that's our fucking list for top 5 hood classic movies. Let us know yours. What are you guys thinking? What's on your list? What are you thinking about for this list? Let us know in the comment section below.